Good evening. When they invite you to do keynotes and presentations to an esteemed audience like this, they typically tell you to be entertaining, educational, and hopefully to motivate some action. After the introduction we all enjoyed this evening, I'm probably only going to go for 2 out of 3 if you don't mind. However, I am very honored to be with this esteemed group of executives, partners, and customers tonight. We live in very exciting times. What I'd like to try and share with you over the next 25-30 minutes is one, a global perspective of what we're seeing through the IoT lens digitization agenda. Arguably, one of the most exciting chapters of technology that I feel we will all live through. Many of us in this room lived through and were part of creating the first wave of the internet. Literally creating the internet and the infrastructure for us all to communicate and collaborate. The second wave was one of an e-based economy, e-retailing and e-procurement and e-enablement of business processes. The third wave, arguably being the biggest, the most significant, and the most impactful to all our lives, we call the Internet of Things. Some people call it digitization. Some people call it the third wave of the internet. So that's what I want to share with you tonight. I also want to be pragmatic in where we are on this journey. Share with you some real examples, talk about some of the challenges, but also talk about the opportunities ahead. And I want to leave you, hopefully over dinner conversation, as you leave the room tonight, as you leave this fantastic event, in conversations over the next couple of days, to take some action. Because while our marketing campaigns are very inspirational and talk about long-term visions, I truly believe the opportunity is right now. The technology is available, the partnerships in this room are available. Our opportunity is to accelerate this opportunity. Because hopefully, as you'll see in the next couple of minutes, the benefits are profound, both economically, to our planet, and all to our lives. So I would challenge you throughout this presentation to think about your respective areas of responsibility, your community, your country, let alone the planet we live on, and figure out how we can accelerate this journey. But at the heart of the Internet of Things, at the heart of any digital disruption, we believe is innovation. Innovative business models, innovative technologies, and applying that innovation to the business impact of what we can do. So one example I'd like to share with you is a longtime customer of Cisco, which has been a longtime IT customer. However, the Internet of Things is the merging of the IT world and the OT world. The IT, information technology world, with the OT world, the operating technology world. Many of our Cisco brethren here in the room spend a lot of time in beautifully air-conditioned data centers and carpeted rooms. Well, the Internet is going into dusty, hot, cold environments now. Therefore, we've got to work together to make sure they not only work, but they operate and provide value in new and very different ways. And hopefully this quick video will get you thinking a little bit differently about connectivity and connecting assets in a whole different way. Done at a NASCAR event in North America just a couple of months ago. 150-mile away remote control of a multi-thousand-ton vehicle. Some of you in the audience might be thinking, okay, so what's the benefit, what's the impact? Well, Caterpillar is facing some new global competitors around the world. Caterpillar is faced with a shortage of manpower, getting access to talent, let alone getting access to talent in some of the most remote, extreme operating environments in the world. If you can operate equipment, in fact any device, remotely around the world, from anywhere, all of a sudden, shortage of talent does not become an inhibitor to your growth or your ability to be competitive. All of a sudden, using skilled talent around the world to penetrate new areas of economy and global competitiveness allows you to have a global competitive advantage to other competitors that are potentially delivering you exactly your same product at a fraction of the cost. So what the Internet of Things and digitization provides you is an opportunity, hopefully, to change the ground rules on your competitors, to innovate and stay competitive, otherwise other people will. And the world we live in today, one of probably the most talked about disruptive factors, is not a global economy. It is not a new technology. It's a small company out of the Bay Area that is no longer that small, called Uber. Uber, the taxi cab company, I would challenge any of us in the room that could have thought about an industry that was just about to be disrupted and would have put the taxi cab industry at the top of that list. I certainly wouldn't. Let alone, just a couple of weeks ago when we had Super Bowl Sunday in the Bay Area, there were over 44,000 Uber car drivers driving around the streets of San Francisco in the Bay Area. That might not come as a surprise to any of you that have visited the Bay Area for the innovative culture, the adoption of new technology. But the combined headline that kind of got missed off from that weekend was that was the same month that Yellow Cab San Francisco filed for bankruptcy, because their business model had been completely disrupted. So much so that they are filing for bankruptcy and completely having to re-engineer their business model. We go as far through some of the research we've done that the Fortune 500 is being disrupted over the next 3 to 5 years. Literally, a staggering 40% of the Fortune Global 500 will no longer be on that list. A whole new digital generation. So therefore, our challenge is, do you want to be digitally disrupted, or do you want to lead that digital revolution? What I've been so impressed here, spending the last few hours in the Kingdom of Saudi, is not only do you have vision, you have a phenomenally compelling vision. You have some incredibly smart people working collaboratively to drive that vision. And I'm so proud of being part of Cisco Connect, that hopefully is what we embody in why we do events like this. Not just to show off how good Cisco is or how collaborative we are, but to provide a platform and a conversation to accelerate this journey. Because we're living in a world that is becoming more urban, people are flocking to centers of opportunity. And just as this great kingdom recognizes, you've got a very youthful population that looks at the world through a different lens. You've got a responsibility to re-engineer your economy in new different ways. And that is going to be through a digital lens. Whether you're extracting raw materials from the ground, whether you're a small, medium business trying to generate a new entrepreneurial population, or whether you're a government or a major global corporation, digitization is high on the agenda. The challenge we have, while digitization is high on the agenda, not enough people are taking enough action. We're talking about it, we've got to turn that talk into action. The numbers are staggering. 50 billion devices by 2020. Probably every time I present, that number goes up. I've heard 20 billion, I've heard 50 billion, I've heard 100 billion. A couple of weeks ago, that went up to a staggering 200 billion devices being connected to the internet. Literally, in the time I'm presenting this evening, 200,000 devices will be connected to the internet. It's happening at a staggering pace. But this isn't just about connectivity, because connecting things is only half the challenge. When you connect those things, massive amounts of data get created. And the challenge, do you need to be in data overload? We're probably already consumed with a lot of data in our lives. So therefore, we've got to use new technologies, new approaches to analyze that data, to extract that data, to distribute that data into new ways so it can get into the hands of people that can make a more informed, faster, rapid decision to help accelerate the positive impact of what's going on in our worlds. The new digital business, whether it's a business, whether it's a city, whether it's a country or a community, typically has 3 pillars you have to focus on and think through. The first being the business model. What is the transformational business model that we need to deliver? Or are we being threatened with to compete against? And I would challenge you all not to underestimate that challenge. Because if you don't think about the business model and the economics and the value exchange between you and your customers, you and your community, you and your clients, you're going to miss an opportunity to transform that relationship. There is also an opportunity to extract so much more value out of our employees, out of our community with the power of collaboration. As more and more of this world collaborates and gets connected, we already have about almost half the population of the world connected to the internet. We've already got new concepts like crowdsourcing and collaboration solving some of the biggest challenges around the world. Think about it as more and more people get connected. One of my favorite authors and books for a little bit of an action item for you tonight is a book called Abundance. It's written by a futurist out of the Bay Area called Peter Diamandis. And he talks about the rate of exponential change and the idea that technology is changing, and as all industries become digital, some of the challenges of the world we face will be solved quicker and more efficiently than we ever thought imagined. But also, you've got to understand, what does that mean for you as an individual? We, as companies, as manufacturers, have a huge desire to have a stickiness with our customer base, to understand what they're doing, how they're utilizing our product and services more and more. However, the thing we've all got to think through is there has got to be a value exchange. Because if I know where you are or what you're doing, you would like to have a benefit out of it, otherwise it feels very intrusive. So think through what the value proposition is. We have a leadership role in connecting some of the largest stadiums in the world. And yes, one of the benefits for people in groups like this is to get connected, get onto the internet, share their experience, Instagram, Facebook. But the other benefit should be, I should know what I'm doing here, what there is to see, and for the people that put on an event to be able to customize the value proposition to me. They should know I like enjoying Diet Coca-Cola. They should know that my son is an avid basketball player, and therefore customize the content. So I don't just ignore all the marketing material that comes to me. I actually want to be engaged. I actually want to take action. So think about the personal experience that has that impact on our lives. The economic value, the economic impact is absolutely staggering. It literally turns into billions of dollars of economic impact. The benefit of understanding and tracking something as basic, we were talking earlier today, as asset tracking, which is probably one of the most pragmatic ways of the IoT, can save you billions of dollars. The idea of energy utilization, of utilizing your assets more efficiently. The idea of tracking a transportation network, whether it's a public utility, whether it's a public transportation network or a private fleet, to understand where those assets are around the world. And let alone to provide new business models that can provide new revenue sources and keep you globally competitive are some of the staggering benefits that literally add up to billions in a local economy like this, literally trillions of dollars. Estimated economic value to benefit to the planet is the equivalent of the US and China economies combined. So how do we approach this sort of opportunity? Well, technology companies like ourselves typically look at the layers of complexity. We invest R&D and partnerships and acquisitions in these layers that create a solution. Obviously, Cisco has a global brand for being one of the best networking companies in the world. The company is pretty excited in this decade. The statistic and research that we found out that is 97% of everything on this planet is yet to be connected to the internet. That sounds like an opportunity to a networking company. However, we also recognize they're going to be connected in new and different ways. So therefore, one of the fundamental obstacles of the Internet of Things and digital adoption is security. Security, every event I go to is talked about security. Therefore, we've made a commitment over the last couple of years of bolstering our security arsenal, making security embedded, not just in a single point product, but having a total architectural approach that now no longer just spans the IT department, but reaches into the OT department and your customer interaction. That's the level of security emphasis we've all got to do to secure this next generation of innovation. But then typically there's layers. There's the software and analytics layer I talked about as all these new devices get created and massive amounts of data get created. You have to automate the extraction of the data. You have to automate and analyze that information to make it more useful. Therefore, custom applications and the next generation of platforms get created. We just made over $1 billion investment in a company called Jasper in Silicon Valley, who are a leading IoT platform provider. At the moment, they provide a cellular connectivity. We're working with them to offer all sorts of new and exciting technology areas like Wi-Fi and Li-Fi and LoRa that will extend the Internet of Things into areas that need different power requirements, different connectivity requirements. And if you piece all this together with some of our great partners in this room, you focus on the business outcome. And that typically is the business model of thousands of companies around the world. But I want to be a little bit controversial tonight, and I want to get you thinking and stimulate some conversation over dinner. I would almost challenge you, this business model is fundamentally flawed. And we have to look at things very differently. In fact, we need to turn this business model completely on its head. And yes, I'm not saying the layers of technology are important. They are critically important. You need to challenge Cisco to stay innovating, to design the best, most secure, most scalable networks in the world. But you've also got to challenge us to say, how can we link this value proposition to really have a business impact? To have a business impact on the kingdom, your business, your community, or the planet. That is the biggest agenda. It's not getting excited like I know many of us will be as you tour this great exhibits here around the components. We've got to pull these pieces of technology together to have a meaningful business impact. We've done that with thousands of companies around the world. We don't have time tonight to share with you too many examples, but two that I'd like to highlight are Fanuc, one of the leading robotic manufacturers on the planet today. They have robots installed in General Motors facilities, Tesla facilities, a lot of the big Asian high-tech manufacturers like Foxconn. Very capital-intense piece of equipment, very critical to the manufacturing process. Well, they had a challenge that it was capital-intensive, and if it broke, there was a serious problem. So we worked with them to connect that robot, to monitor that robot, to analyze that robot. So currently today, they can offer that robot as a service, and customers can buy it by the usage, because they can track how much usage it takes. But as equally importantly, they can track the reliability of that product and look at the components that typically have a high degree of wear and tear, like the pneumatic tubes on the arm of those robots. And if they see any inkling of wear and tear, they can do a proactive maintenance schedule where they take that robot down, not at the height of production, but within a maintenance window that will have the least impact of a manufacturing line. Those are types of examples that are making a bigger impact. The other example I'd like to share with you, we've got another short video, is Daimler. A very respectable German automotive company that produces some of the most incredible automotive vehicles around the world. They work with Cisco and a number of our ecosystem partners to completely transform their business line. And for any of our Cisco partners in the room, listen to this video and look at how many of products and technologies that we use and almost take for granted in the IT world are now being used to have a bigger impact in the operating manufacturing world.
Our mission is to provide the highest quality trucks to our customers. We produce both Freightliner and Western Star, the 4700, 4800, 4900, and the 6900, which is the big heavy-duty product for the Western Star family.
We're always interested in the efficiency of our plant, and this is why we need to look at the new way and the future way to sustain a solution that's working for us for the next years.
As we embarked on this new network design, we wanted to leverage Cisco and Rockwell Automation for their expertise in both networking and automation design.
One of the biggest issues that I saw with the old network was communication. I often heard complaints about how the system was unreliable, they would be cut off, or they couldn't reach the individual that they needed to at the time. Since the implementation of the new network, those complaints have literally disappeared. Probably most importantly is that we went from the old system to the new system without any impact to production.
The new network will allow us to explore a bunch of new technologies, one of which is going to be the expanded use of RFID. We're looking at using that technology to be able to track where parts are in the plant.
Coordinate all of those parts coming together on a single truck. No two are alike, all different configurations, wheelbases, axle configurations, cab, sleeper combinations, colors.
It's very important as each part is unique for each truck to make sure that we understand where the parts are so that they can mate up with the vehicle at the appropriate time on the assembly line.
The Cisco network environment is very key to the success because we collect a lot of data, we provide a lot of information, we need wireless solutions, a lot of wireless access points.
So tablets or other things of that device, scanners, whatnot. that we haven't been able to use in the past, we're now able to use, and we're continuing to upgrade our systems and move in that direction.
Internet of Things is part of our strategy, and it starts in the plant. And we have a truck where we can do remote diagnostics, where we connect all the truck information to our back office so we know what the truck is doing. If there is a fault, we can help the truck driver as he drives while he's on the road. So the truck is already part of the Internet of Things.
Before we put in the new network, the IT network and the automation network were completely separated. The automation network was isolated from the outside world. We now have the capability of running video over the wireless, which allows us a lot more flexibility for remote diagnostics by being able to video some of the issues that we see and getting that information real time to engineers that can help troubleshoot the problem from wherever they are in the world.
The project management that occurred throughout the course of the project was very good. So that interface with the plant and the other entities within Daimler, again, I think contributed to the project going very smoothly. And when it goes that smoothly, it makes me very happy.
We are just in the beginning of our journey with Internet of Things, and Cisco will help us to get there.
This is not just about the manufacturing sector, although just 2 weeks ago, Hanover Fair in Germany, one of the largest industrial conferences, talked about I in IoT, the industrial IoT. Some of the challenges and opportunities taking those IT and OT worlds and bringing them together. I want to challenge us to try and accelerate that journey and bring things together. But this is not just private sector, this is not just limited to the manufacturing world, this is pervasive across all verticals. Whether you're in the private sector or the public sector, whether you're a large company or a small company. We talk about one of the most vibrant segments of the market in Germany, for that matter, is the thing called the Mittelstand. It is the small medium business, probably able to be a little more nimbler than some of the global brands that Germany and a lot of our countries represent. They're a lot more innovative. And now through the Internet of Things and cloud technology, they have access to resources and the abilities that we've never had before. We've pioneered 9 innovation centers around the world where we're trying to tap into that youthful, innovative culture to combine with the big brands and the big solutions to drive a bigger impact. We're also coining and working more and more on a new topic called co-innovation. The idea of rolling our sleeves up even more than we typically do as a partnership to understand what innovation you need in your market segment or your communities to make sure we're addressing those business needs. We started that journey in the public sector. The smart cities phenomenon that started off with our engagement 3 to 5 years ago with Barcelona, a beautiful city in Southern Europe that was on the brinks of bankruptcy, that needed to transform its entire business model. And please don't underestimate, they were very siloed, they had operating models that dated back centuries, yet they had to change and drive change. Working with Cisco and other partners in our ecosystem, they literally demonstrated and revolutionized a lot of city facilities. Connected garbage cans, connected bus stops, connected parking. That didn't just make them an innovation icon, it helped them reduce the carbon footprint. It helped them reduce traffic by 30 to 40%. It helped them be more globally competitive. And that phenomenon now has spread around the world. The next 100 cities in India are going to be smart and connected. The Major Cities Initiative around the world is turning into communities and turning into countries. Cisco launched a country digitization project where we're partnering with kingdoms and cities around the world that are willing to step up to the commitments and the partnership that's needed to drive that change and innovate together to have the impact we need. But you've also probably seen our new brand campaign hopefully getting launched. There's never been a better time. And I think this is what we're very excited about. Because we're not just trying to drive the Cisco success and our partners' success, we're trying to drive the industry. We're trying to accelerate this. We do an event every year called the IoT World Forum. The 4th one is coming up in Berlin later this year, and we would very much welcome participation from this region and invite you to that event. Because that is not a trade show, that's not a set of seminars, it's a platform for the industry and the world to collaborate. It's a platform to deal with some of these issues like security head on, to figure out what governing bodies we need to influence, what new partnerships we need to endorse and keep accelerating to have a bigger and bigger impact. In fact, what was interesting about one of the prior IoT World Forums was in California, Google gets a lot of buzz and excitement about the driverless car you see driving around the streets of San Francisco. You know, the Germans are paranoid about disrupting that beautiful German experience of driving fast on the Autobahn with driverless autonomous cars. Yet an Australian mining company called Rio Tinto is already implementing driverless cars. In fact, they're not just implementing driverless cars, they're implementing pictures like this. Driverless 300-ton earth-moving trucks. And what was amazing about not just the demonstration of technology, but was the testimonial of workers in their mining environments. Some of the most extreme, dangerous environments in the world. And the testimonials from some of their workers that at a later age in life were getting worried that maybe they couldn't keep working till retirement age because this was so dangerous and hazardous. All of a sudden became a lot more comfortable with the heavy equipment machinery that they knew was going to move from A to B. They knew it had sensors on it, so if something went wrong, it could stop. And no longer there was a human error element that started to eat away at the confidence of their employees. So through the use of technology and the driverless automotive truck, it actually has helped mining, it's helped offshore exploration, it's helped cities, it's helping around the world. However, I'll challenge us all. This is a very exciting chapter of our lives. It is probably the most exciting chapter of technology. But I'll also challenge us, we will not get there the same way we did in the first chapter. I myself and the group I was responsible for at Cisco have to challenge our partnerships that we have today to look at the world through a different lens. We're experimenting and investigating new partnerships in a new ecosystem that we need to bring together with our existing ecosystem to leverage the power and experience we all have around networking at a scale and a security level that not many people know about, but also partnering with the OT side of the house that needs to deal with legislation and safety concerns and life cycles that the IT department is not used to. That's the partnership we need to bring together. But hopefully, as I finish this presentation, I've achieved my objectives. I wanted to get this group thinking a little bit differently. I want you to also take some action. I also want you to do your fair share of investigation over the next couple of days with technology partners and demonstrations to get the same sense of confidence I have that this is not just a big, real opportunity 20 years from now. The opportunity is right now and right today. And the action I'd like to challenge us all to take. If you've started your IoT digital journey, hurry up. Please, don't underestimate the pace of change. If you haven't started your digital journey, there is no time to waste. Because somewhere in the world, someone has started that digital journey. You might not know where it's coming from, you might not know who it is, but I'll guarantee you someone around this world is innovating and looking at this whole new era of connectivity as one of the most phenomenal opportunities we all enjoy. And so I'd like to thank you for your time tonight, but I'd also like you to really think seriously about how we accelerate this journey. Because we're not just accelerating this journey from a technology perspective. We're accelerating the impact of technology on the companies we represent, the organizations we represent, and more importantly, the communities, the countries, and the planet we have to give to the next generation. Thank you very much for your time. I look forward to talking to you later on tonight. Thank you.
With that introduction, I'm not sure there's much else to say, right? Good morning and welcome, and I want to build on the introduction to say thank you very sincerely for your investment in time this morning. What I want to share with you over the next 20-30 minutes is a global perspective of what I believe is probably the most exciting time in technology. The Internet of Things and the digitization wave represents an unprecedented opportunity for all of us to make a major impact on our lives, on our communities, and on our businesses. However, there are some challenges, there are some opportunities, and there are some change. And like any good presentation, there's going to be a little bit of homework at the end of this. And so while I'd love to just entertain and stimulate some thinking, I also want to stimulate some action. I want people who have invested their time here today to think about the digital journey we're all on. And in this great kingdom where we are today, the journey and the vision you've all set out for this great country is an opportunity to accelerate that opportunity. If you've already started your digital journey, I would encourage you to speed up. If you have not started that digital journey, there is no time to waste. So please think about what is changing, what is accelerating, and the unique opportunities we have. I've been at Cisco 20 years. For the first 10 years, we, with our partners and customers, built the internet. It was an amazing chapter of history, connecting things that had never been connected before, collaborating with people around the world. The second wave was when we built applications and development and usage of that internet. The third wave, some people call it digitization, some people call it the industrial internet, some people call it IoT. This third wave, we truly believe, will be big, will be more impactful, and will be more beneficial for more people on this planet. At the heart of any wave of innovation is innovation. How we innovate our business models, how we innovate technology, how we innovate partnerships. So what I want to start this presentation off with is a short video with one of our largest customers in North America. A customer that makes big, heavy capital equipment. Market that you would argue has not innovated that much, has not actually used that much technology. While this customer has used a lot of IT technology to connect their buildings around the world, to communicate, when it comes to the hard work on the OT side of the world, we haven't really done much with it. So this first video I'd like to run demonstrates innovation in action. So hopefully you got that. So a professional race driver who was sponsored by Caterpillar, NASCAR driver, remotely controlled and remotely drove a 300,000 ton earth-moving truck. So it was a pretty cool demo, right? It was a pretty exciting demo. But think about the business implications and the benefit that happens. Caterpillar Goldvis faces global competition. Caterpillar typically sells their heavy capital equipment in very harsh operating environments. They're mining in remote, dangerous parts of the world. And therefore, one of the challenges, one of the biggest challenges to stay globally competitive is getting talent to operate those vehicles in very harsh, dangerous environments. Think about the global competitiveness if all of a sudden having talent in those dangerous locations was no longer an issue. And you could use talent anywhere in the world to operate and drive and manage that. You could get access to the best operators in the world to deliver the best experience to your top customers anywhere. That is what that demonstration makes you think of. And don't just think about heavy capital equipment. Think of anything we do that needs labor and en masse and into areas that we can't get at. The idea of remote connectivity, a secure connected environment, and access to talent has helped us drive innovation around the world. The world we live in is full of examples of innovation. I think one we talk an awful lot about at events like this is the Uber impact. The taxi cab company that owns no taxis. The biggest digital disruptor probably in the last couple of years. Super Bowl Sunday, good old US sporting event, happened a couple of months ago. Interesting statistic that Sunday, there were 44,000 Uber drivers out in the Bay Area. Probably not a surprise to anyone that comes from Silicon Valley or that's visited there. Pretty innovative bunch. What people don't realize, that same month, the yellow cab, taxi cab industry in San Francisco filed for bankruptcy. So digital disruption is all around us. Digital disruption will impact all our lives and our industries. And in fact, there's been research that challenges 40% of the Fortune 500 will be digitally disrupted. That means 40% of the Fortune 500 will not be around. They will be replaced by the Ubers or new companies we've never heard of, or digital disruptors that are being more aggressive and embracing this technology trend ever. What I've been so impressed with my trip here is this country takes this very seriously. This country is aligning and focused on a vision for 2030 to digitally disrupt itself, to change its economic balance and look at new ways, to stimulate the youthful population here, to tap into that small, medium business like countries of Germany have already done. There's a layer of the economy in Germany that not many people realize is one of the largest growth engines for the German economy. It's called the Mittelstand. It is a small, medium business, engineering, manufacturing-led economy. Thousands of small brands that many of us have never heard of. It is not actually the Siemens and the BMWs and the Audis that drive the bulk of the German economy. That Mittelstand represents 80% of the GDP in Germany, as an example. A vibrant, innovative, fast-moving business that I know this country and kingdom is looking at focus to stimulate. But there are challenges. Urbanization, as people flock to cities for jobs and opportunity, create challenges to infrastructure. The whole Smart City initiative, where we use technology to really tackle some of the major urbanization issues we've had for decades. The traffic congestion, the pollution, the job creation, the parking, those are areas where we can innovate. And whether it's 50 billion devices, 20 billion devices, 100 billion devices, I've heard as many as 200 billion devices being connected to the internet by 2020. Just in the time we have this conversation here this morning, over 200,000 devices will be connected to the internet. But I challenge especially anyone that's worked with Cisco over any period of time, this is not just about connectivity. Because all those massive amounts of connected devices in new and different ways. My son is an avid basketball player. He literally has a connected basketball nowadays that gives him immediate feedback on the trajectory of his basketball and tells him he banked that shot too high, too low. My father-in-law has a pair of connected hearing aids, for goodness sake, that automatically adjust to the acoustics in the room. So connectivity is not the problem. The challenge is, with all that connectivity comes massive amounts of data. Massive amounts of data. So our challenge as a business community and as a technology community is, how do we get that data? How do we analyze and change those massive amounts of data into information? Information we can get into the hands of people that make a difference. And that's not just the business leaders. That is the people that run our retail stores. It's the people that do the work that can make safer, quicker business decisions to improve our lives and improve the business operations we look at. We truly believe there are three pillars to this digital transformation. Three areas you've got to think carefully about. Three areas you've got to bake into your business plan. First of all is the transformational business model. Think about the business model that you have to transform or evolve. And I think this takes some thinking, because typically the new digital business model will be a different approach than you've been used to. It will take a new ecosystem, a new set of partners to deliver on it. But it also takes us tapping into the innovative culture within our companies and within our communities. That youthful part of our population, which Saudi enjoys, that are probably not quite as digitally resistant sometimes as people of my age demographic. They embrace technology, they use it so much more easier than we do. So tap into that. But then also, when you're connecting to a community, when you're connecting to your employees, make sure you understand the value proposition. Because I might want to connect to you. Any manufacturer wants a relationship with their customers. We want to stay in touch with our customers. We want to upgrade you. We want to make sure that you're using the latest software release. But if it's not a benefit for you, there's not a good value exchange. So in this digital era, think through the value proposition from both sides. What customers get out of that stickiness. In the retail environment, in the marketing environment, I'm responsible for some of the largest sports stadiums around the world. We enjoy a #1 market position there. Yes, people want to get connected, but they also don't want to be bombarded by useless marketing material. They do want to be connected with valuable marketing material. So if people can customize the content that gets delivered to me, I will interact, I will react, I will become a customer for life. But if all I just get is bombarded, people will not get recognized and will not have a long-lasting digital relationship with people. How much of this is opportunity? It's enormous. We've done study with some of the leading research institutes around the world to try and capture the economic value of this next wave of innovation and digitization. It literally goes into the billions, if not trillions of dollars. This is a value that we've done here locally for Saudi to look at the opportunities in the manufacturing sector, the retail sectors, the mining sector. This is not just in cost savings, but this is in energy savings, better asset utilization, better power consumption, new business models which generate new revenue streams. And I will share with you, despite our phenomenally inspiring marketing campaigns, this is a very real market that is moving right now. We have never had more access to compute power, to sensor technology at a size and price point that is so consumable, and an ability to take the network into places we never thought we would take before. Typically, companies like Cisco and the technology world approach this problem in layers of complexity. Come out and join us in the conversation after this event, and you'll see this technology. The company is very proud of the networks we built with our customers and our partners. We've been doing it for 3 decades. And yes, you should challenge us to stay globally competitive from an innovation perspective. Hopefully you caught that opening video around our commitment to security. We've been buying companies, we've been investing in R&D to make sure security is not just about a hot box. You will never be able to secure your entire corporate network by one box. The way you secure your corporate environment, the way you secure your community is through an architectural approach, making security core to everything you do. So you should expect us not just to have the hottest security box, but to have an architectural approach and a blueprint to secure the environments we're working with. I mentioned that massive amounts of data create huge analytical opportunities. We've been making investments and partnering with software companies and analytics companies to extract that data, extract the value of the network we've been talking about. Location-based services, density of people, this is valuable information. What people are, what they're doing, how much time they're spending. Valuable information we can now extract out of the network. We feed applications, all existing applications or new applications, mobile applications or custom applications. And you might have seen our $1.3 billion acquisition of a company called Jasper recently that gets us into the IoT platform business. The ability to connect and turn any product or offering into a service offering. To help your customers consume in a way they want to consume, not in a very heavy, capital-intense world. And if you pull all that together, typically you come with a business outcome. You focus on the output, you focus on the impact. Pretty normal, pretty standard approach, correct? However, I want to be a little provocative this morning and get you thinking a little differently. I actually want to be as provocative to say this is the wrong approach. This takes a lot of time, takes a lot of energy, takes a lot of explanation. What I challenge us to do is to turn this model upside down. Turn it on its head. Talk more about the business problems people in this room have faced. Really understand the challenges and the global competitiveness and some of the opportunities we have. And challenge us, the technology world, to align tighter, align more efficiently, and really impact the business world. Yes, you should expect world-class innovation in every single one of these layers. Yes, you should expect our system integrators and our partners to pull this together. But you should also expect a business impact. You should expect a quantifiable benefit to increase production, to lower cost, to benefit the community you serve. And that's the journey we're on together in this digital and disruptive world. I want to share with you, there are countless case studies out there where this has made an impact. I want to highlight just 2. The first is one of the world-class robotic companies called Fanuc. Many of you might not know of this company, but it's embedded in most of the leading manufacturing plants around the world. We've got some demos in some of our areas. The challenge with the robotics world, it is very capital intense, very expensive, very intricate, very high-tech devices that are in mission-critical manufacturing plants around the world. So Fanuc looked at their business problem and said, okay, One, they're expensive to purchase, and two, boy, if we have a maintenance outage, it can be very expensive. So we worked with them to create a connected robot, a robot that you could remotely manage and diagnose. And now their customers can buy these robots as a service, as they utilize them, and monitor those robots to look at the weak links in their operating systems and find the pneumatic hose, which is the one component that probably breaks the most, and take that robot out of circulation in the least disruptive time. So it saves millions of dollars in the manufacturing world if you can do preventative maintenance rather than reacting to maintenance that takes an incredibly critical business manufacturing line out of production. So think about this differently. And then one example I'd like to share with you that brings this to life is Daimler, the famous German automotive company that produces trucks. What we worked with them as Cisco is to take the whole Cisco product family into that factory floor to help them transform and make their manufacturing plant even more globally competitive than ever before.
Daimler Trucks North America is the premium leading truck manufacturer in North America. Our mission is to provide the highest quality trucks to our customers. We produce both Freightliner and Western Star, the 4700, 4800, 4900, and the 6900, which is the big heavy-duty product for the Western Star family.
We're always interested in the efficiency of our plant. This is why we need to look at the new way and the future way to sustain a solution that's working for us for the next years.
As we embarked on this new network design, we wanted to leverage Cisco and Rockwell Automation for their expertise in both networking and automation design.
One of the biggest issues that I saw with the old network was communication. I often heard complaints about how the system was unreliable, they would be cut off, or they couldn't reach the individual that they needed to at the time. Since the implementation of the new network, those complaints have literally disappeared. Probably most importantly is that we went from the old system to the new system without any impact to production.
The new network will allow us to explore a bunch of new technologies, one of which is going to be the expanded use of RFID. We're looking at using that technology to be able to track where parts are in the plant.
Coordinate all of those parts coming together on a single truck. No two are alike, all different configurations, wheelbases, axle configurations, cab, super combinations, colors.
It's very important as each part is unique for each truck to make sure we understand where the parts are so that they can mate up with the vehicle at the appropriate time on the assembly line.
The Cisco network environment is very key to the success because we collect a lot of data, we provide a lot of information, we need wireless solutions, a lot of wireless access points.
So tablets or other things with that device, scanners, whatnot, that we haven't been able to use in the past, we're now able to use, and we're continuing to upgrade our systems and move in that direction.
Internet of Things is part of our strategy, and it starts in the plant. Then we have a truck where we can do remote diagnostics, where we connect all the truck information to our back office so we know what the truck is doing. If there's a fault, we can help the truck driver as he drives, while he's on the road. So the truck is already part of the Internet of Things.
Before we put in the new network, the IT network and the automation network were completely separated. The automation network was isolated from the outside world. We now have the capability of running video over the wireless, which allows us a lot more flexibility for remote diagnostics by being able to video some of the issues that we see and getting that information real time to engineers that can help troubleshoot the problem from wherever they are in the world.
And the project management that occurred throughout the course of the project was very good. So that interface with the plant and the other entities within Daimler, again, I think contributed to the project going very smoothly. And when it goes that smoothly, it makes me very happy.
We are just in the beginning of our journey with Internet of Things, and Cisco will help us to get there.
So hopefully you took a couple of things away from that video. Number one, Cisco has taken the network not just into the manufacturing floor, but actually into the truck. So we provide connectivity, collaboration, diagnostics into the manufacturing world, which historically was completely separate. But we kept going and now have taken connectivity into the truck itself, to be able to provide those remote diagnostics that was mentioned in the video, to be able to track that asset better than we've ever been able to track before, to be able to route it more efficiently and help it with its fuel consumption and its efficiency. The largest manufacturing event in the world happened just a couple of weeks ago in Hanover, Germany, the Hanover Fair. The term IIoT, the industrial internet, is a buzz in manufacturing hubs in Germany, in America, in Asia. And I know this kingdom has got a focus on stimulating manufacturing. The good news is, you've got the opportunity to do it from a digital perspective. You've got an opportunity to be globally competitive and differentiate like no one else. Our digital journey, though, is not just limited to manufacturing world. It actually, one of the areas that it started blossoming early was in our smart cities. In the journey we undertook with Barcelona, one of the most beautiful cities in the world in Southern Europe, that was on the brinks of bankruptcy, had tough unemployment issues, tough financial model, and they looked to technology to disrupt their own operating model. And you've probably heard from Cisco before around the phenomenal innovation with literally connected garbage cans, connected bus stations, connected parking. They all sound fantastic technology toys, but the real story is in the economic benefit that connectivity provided. Provided them to pick up trash more efficiently than they've done in decades. Providing new services at bus stops that drove commercial vitality for local pizza stores and local coffee shops, connecting to passengers waiting for buses. And finally attacking one of the biggest challenges urban centers around the world have. 40% of traffic congestion in most major cities is for people like me going round and round trying to find that infamous open parking space. All of a sudden you have an application when you come in within city limits and it directs you to the most viable parking space. The city, by the way, automatically gets the revenue, so people like me don't skimp on paying that parking fee, and you get the revenue you deserve. The smart cities has accelerated everywhere. It's no longer limited to just early adopters like Barcelona. The next 100 cities being built in India, as an example, where I lived for a number of years, are going to be the smartest, most globally competitive in the world. In North America, in the Middle East, around Asia, people are looking at the partnerships that it will take to transform not just the cities, but the communities and now the countries to stay globally competitive in the digital world. Our new brand campaign probably could not have been better timing. You'll see it outside, you'll see it here today. There's never been a better time to automate the most dangerous jobs in the world, to connect our communities, to think about anything we do differently. Think about the opportunity. I would challenge you to think about it very positively. Don't think about the digital disruption that's going to knock you off your spot or knock you off the phenomenal offerings you do today. Think about the digital offerings positively that can accelerate your journey. Make the service you're offering even more competitive and even more fulfilling. But I also want to challenge you to steal and borrow a great quote from Albert Einstein. This is going to take a different approach. And what is so motivating to see the number of people here today is you are investing one of your most precious assets in the world, the time you have, to invest in conversation. Invest in new partnerships that might help you accelerate that journey. That's why we're so proud to put on Cisco Connect events. We're looking to connect the community. We do that around the world with an event called the IoT World Forum. We're going into our 4th IoT World Forum in Berlin, Germany later this year in November. We would love to invite anyone that is interested in helping accelerate that journey. It's not a trade show, it's not a set of seminars. It literally is a platform for the world to collaborate and accelerate the IoT journey. To talk about and think about how we accelerate the security paranoia out there that is maybe hesitating some people to get started. To think about the partnerships we need and the new business models. In fact, here today over the last 24 hours, business meetings with representatives from this great kingdom have given me feedback and stimulated me to approach the job differently. We're not just thinking about innovation as something we do in Silicon Valley. We opened up a number of innovation centers around the world. Now we're rolling our sleeves up with our clients. We want to co-innovate. We want to hear from you. What are your business challenges? What is the digital journey you're already on? And if you're not on it, how do we help you get started? And how do we facilitate the phenomenal connected ecosystem that we're known for to help you not just feel confident, but take action to drive this journey even more? Hopefully I've achieved my objective in the last 25 minutes. Number one, to share with you the global perspective of what's going on. Digitization and IoT is not just a great brand campaign or a good marketing slogan. It is a market dynamic that is happening right now. And it is happening all around the world. And the phenomenal vision you have all set out for this great kingdom aligns perfectly to the digital playbook that is being created. But I would challenge you one more time. The action item I talked about as I started today is don't just listen to presentations like this. Don't just go around and talk about this. Please take some action. If you've started the digital journey, I would encourage you to speed up. The rate of change is changing exponentially. You cannot get involved in long, complex, drawn-out proof of concepts. You've got to innovate fast, you've got to fail fast, and you've got to succeed fast. So please, no matter what part of the ecosystem or the community you represent here today, whether you're an innovative startup early in your career, whether you're a global multinational, whether you're public sector or private sector, this applies to all of us. Think about the digital journey. Think about what it can have on your personal life. But also, think about what it can have on the community and the planet we're going to leave for our children. Thank you very much and enjoy the rest of the conference.